Daily Words of God. Adam and Eve, created by God in the beginning, were holy people, which is to say, whilst in the Garden of Eden they were holy, untainted with filth. They were also faithful to Jehovah, and knew nothing of the betrayal of Jehovah. This is because they were without the disturbance of the influence of Satan, were without Satan's poison, and were the purest of all mankind. They lived in the Garden of Eden, undefiled by any filth, unpossessed by the flesh, and in reverence of Jehovah. Later, when they were tempted by Satan, they had the poison of the serpent and the desire to betray Jehovah, and they lived under the influence of Satan. In the beginning, they were holy and revered Jehovah. Only like this were they human. Later on, after they were tempted by Satan, they ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and lived under the influence of Satan. They were gradually corrupted by Satan, and lost the original image of man. In the beginning, man had the breath of Jehovah, and was not the slightest bit disobedient, and had no evil in his heart. At that time, man was truly human. After being corrupted by Satan, man became a beast. His thoughts were filled with evil and filth, without good or holiness. Is this not Satan? You have experienced much of God's work, yet you have not changed or been cleansed. You still live under the domain of Satan, and still do not submit to God. This is someone who has been conquered but has not been made perfect. And why is it said that such a person has not been made perfect? Because this person does not pursue life or a knowledge of God's work, and covets nothing more than the pleasures of the flesh and momentary comfort. As a result, there are no changes in their life disposition, and they have not regained the original appearance of man as created by God. Such people are the walking corpses. They are the dead ones that have no spirit. Those who do not pursue a knowledge of matters in the Spirit, who do not pursue holiness, and who do not pursue living out the truth, who are content only to be conquered on the negative side, and are incapable of living out and showing forth the truth, and becoming one of the holy people, they are people who have not been saved. For if he is without the truth, man is unable to stand fast during God's trials. Only those who can stand fast during God's trials are the ones who have been saved. What I want are people like Peter, people who pursue being made perfect. Today's truth is given to those who yearn for and seek it. This salvation is granted to those who yearn to be saved by God, and is not only meant to be gained by you, but is also so that you can be gained by God. You gain God in order that God can gain you. Today I have spoken these words to you, and you have heard them, and you should practice according to these words. In the end, when you put these words into practice will be when I have gained you through these words. At the same time, you will have also gained these words, which is to say, you will have gained this supreme salvation. Once you have been made clean, you will be a real human being. If you are incapable of living out the truth, or of living out the likeness of one who has been made perfect, then it can be said that you are not a human. You are a walking corpse, a beast, because you are without the truth, which is to say that you are without the breath of Jehovah, and thus you are a dead person that has no spirit. Although it is possible to bear testimony after being conquered, what you gain is but a little salvation, and you have not become a living being possessed of a spirit. Although you have experienced chastisement and judgment, your disposition is not renewed or changed as a result. You are still your old self. You still belong to Satan, and you are not someone who has been cleansed. Only those who have been made perfect are of value, and only people such as this have gained a true life.
You have gone through much of God's work, yet are not changed or cleansed. You still live under Satan and don't submit to God. You are conquered, but not made perfect. You do not pursue life or knowledge of God's work, only seeking pleasures and comforts. So your disposition has not changed. You haven't regained the image that God created man with. You're walking dead without spirit. What God wants are people like Peter, people who pursue being made perfect. Today's truth's given to those who yearn and seek. Salvation is granted to those wishing to be saved. Not meant just to be gained by you, but so you're gained by God. You gain God so that God can gain you. Those who don't ever pursue attaining holiness, who never pursue knowledge of matters in spirit, not pursuing truth, content to be conquered on the negative side, incapable of living out, showing forth the truth and becoming holy people. These are the ones who have not been saved. What God wants are people like Peter, people who pursue being made perfect. Today's truth's given to those who yearn and seek. Salvation is granted to those wishing to be saved. Not meant just to be gained by you, but so you're gained by God. You gain God so that God can gain you. Today, God has spoken all these words to you. You have heard and should practice according to them. When you can live them out, been made clean, you'll be a real human being. What God wants are people like Peter, people who pursue being made perfect. Today's truth given to those who yearn and seek. Salvation is granted to those wishing to be saved. Not meant just to be gained by you, but so